The Epstein case has always been shrouded in mystery, but now the truth is coming to light. Dark secrets are being uncovered, and the shocking names involved will leave you speechless. High-profile figures, influential elites, and powerful personalities. They all have ties to the notorious financier. Who are they? What role did they play? This video exposes the hidden truths behind Epstein's web of deception. You won't believe who's been named in the scandal. Watch now to uncover the full story. The case of Jeffrey Epstein is one of the most shocking scandals of the 21st century. Epstein, a financier and convicted sex offender, was known for his high-profile connections, which included celebrities, politicians, and wealthy business people. But it wasn't until his arrest in 2019 that the world truly began to realize the extent of his crimes. He was charged with trafficking minors for sex, a crime that not only shocked the public, but also raised questions about how someone with so much power and influence could operate for so long without being caught. Epstein's life seemed to be a mix of mystery and privilege. He built a vast fortune, allegedly through dubious financial deals, and surrounded himself with some of the most influential people in the world. He owned a private island in the Caribbean, a mansion in Manhattan, and a sprawling estate in Palm Beach. These luxurious properties, along with his private jet, were all part of his world, which he used to lure young girls into his trafficking ring. For years, Epstein maintained an image of a wealthy businessman, but underneath this facade, he was allegedly running a network that exploited vulnerable young women. In July 2019, Epstein was arrested on federal charges of sex trafficking minors. The indictment revealed horrifying details about how he had been using his wealth and connections to abuse girls as young as 14. Victims came forward, telling their stories of how Epstein had lured them into his circle, often promising them a better life or career opportunities. Once they were in his grip, Epstein allegedly used his power to manipulate, intimidate, and control them. Epstein's arrest sent shockwaves through the world. It was clear that he wasn't just a small-time criminal, he had connections that could have shielded him from justice for decades. But his arrest also raised even more questions. How did he get away with it for so long? Who else was involved? And why had so many people turned a blind eye to his behavior? Epstein's death in a New York jail in August 2019, which was ruled a suicide, only deepened the mystery. Many people, including some of his victims, believe that he was silenced before he could fully expose everyone involved. The case has since become a symbol of how the powerful can exploit their position, and how hard it can be for victims to seek justice against such powerful figures. It's also sparked numerous investigations into the people who were allegedly part of Epstein's circle, many of whom are now facing public scrutiny. The Epstein case is far from over, and as more details continue to emerge, the truth behind the scandal becomes even more complex. The names involved in this case, and the web of influence surrounding Epstein, are far more shocking than anyone could have imagined. The dark web surrounding Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just about his criminal activities. It was also about the high-profile connections he maintained throughout his life. Epstein wasn't a lone wolf. He had a vast network of influential people, from politicians to businessmen, celebrities to royalty. These connections were not just casual friendships or business partnerships. They were relationships that, in many ways, helped him operate with impunity for years. What makes Epstein's story even more chilling is the way he seemingly used these ties to further his criminal enterprise, exploiting his status to shield himself from any consequences. Epstein's social circle included some of the most powerful people in the world. One of the first names that comes up is that of former President Bill Clinton. Clinton and Epstein had a long history together, with Clinton flying on Epstein's private jet, nicknamed the Lolita Express, numerous times. While Clinton has denied any involvement in Epstein's criminal activities, their relationship raises serious questions. Clinton, after all, was a sitting president during part of their association, and it's clear that Epstein used his connections to gain access to the highest levels of power. Clinton, however, has maintained that he flew on Epstein's plane for work related to the Clinton Foundation, and there is no concrete evidence that he was directly involved in Epstein's illegal activities. Another high-profile individual connected to Epstein is Prince Andrew of the British royal family. The prince's ties to Epstein have been a subject of intense scrutiny. Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most prominent accusers, has publicly stated that she was trafficked by Epstein and forced to have sex with Prince Andrew when she was just 17. Prince Andrew has denied these allegations, but the scandal has tarnished his reputation. In fact, his connection to Epstein led to his stepping down from royal duties in 2019. Despite his denials, photos of Prince Andrew with Giuffre and other women associated with Epstein have surfaced, further complicating his defense. The scandal has not only damaged his personal reputation, but also raised questions about the extent of his knowledge of Epstein's activities and whether he played a role in enabling them. Then there's the financier and businessman Leon Black, who was closely tied to Epstein for many years. Black, who was the co-founder of Apollo Global Management, was one of Epstein's biggest financial backers. For a long time, Black denied any wrongdoing, claiming that he had only a professional relationship with Epstein. However, it was revealed that Black paid Epstein tens of millions of dollars for financial advice, and there were rumors that Epstein had been helping him with personal matters as well. Black has denied any involvement in Epstein's illegal activities, but the financial dealings between the two raised serious questions about their relationship. In the end, Black stepped down from his role at Apollo amid the scandal, but his name, like many others connected to Epstein, remains tarnished. Another key figure in the Epstein saga is Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite and close associate of Epstein, who was arrested in 2020 on charges of aiding Epstein in his sex trafficking operations. Maxwell was not just a friend of Epstein, she was also an active participant in his criminal enterprise. She allegedly recruited young women, sometimes girls, to be abused by Epstein and his powerful associates. Maxwell's role in the scandal is particularly significant because she was seen as the woman who helped normalize Epstein's actions. She was often seen at social events with him, and many of the victims have spoken about her as a central figure in their abuse. Maxwell's arrest and subsequent trial have brought further attention to the broader network of people who helped Epstein operate for so long. Her connections to powerful figures, including politicians, business leaders, and other elites, highlight how deeply Epstein's web stretched. Epstein's connections didn't just stop at celebrities and royalty. He also had ties to some of the world's most influential financial institutions and corporate giants. One of the most notable names in the business world tied to Epstein is the former head of Bear Stearns, Alan Greenberg. Epstein worked for Greenberg before becoming a financier himself, and there are rumors that Epstein was involved in various shady financial deals, including some that were linked to major Wall Street figures. Epstein's ability to maintain such close relationships with high-powered individuals like Greenberg and others in the financial industry suggests that he wasn't just a businessman, but someone who had the ear of some of the most influential people in the world. This level of access allowed him to continue his operations with little fear of being exposed. Then there's the famous British lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, who is another person whose name is tied to Epstein. Dershowitz, a renowned attorney and law professor, has been accused by Virginia Giuffre of having sex with her while she was underage, a claim he vehemently denies. Dershowitz has been a vocal defender of Epstein, even after his arrest, and has claimed that he was never involved in any criminal activity with Epstein. However, his name continues to be linked to the scandal, and many are questioning his relationship with Epstein. Dershowitz has maintained his innocence, but the fact that he was closely associated with Epstein for years has led to ongoing scrutiny. One of the more unexpected connections was with the famous scientist and tech mogul Bill Gates. Gates has admitted to meeting with Epstein multiple times after Epstein was convicted in 2008 of sex offenses. Gates has claimed that he thought Epstein could help with his philanthropic endeavors, but the meetings have raised many questions. Why did Gates, a man with an incredible public profile and wealth, continue to associate with Epstein after his criminal history was well known? Gates has denied any involvement in Epstein's criminal activities, but his ties to Epstein only add to the growing list of influential people who may have been complicit, or at the very least, turned a blind eye to Epstein's behavior. There are also countless other figures, lesser known but still influential, who were connected to Epstein in some way. From famous actors and actresses to powerful politicians, the list of people who had ties to Epstein is long and disturbing. Some of these people may have had nothing to do with Epstein's criminal activities, but the sheer number of prominent names involved in his network suggests that there was a culture of complicity that allowed his abuses to continue unchecked. The real question that looms over the Epstein case is how these people managed to avoid scrutiny for so long. How was Epstein able to move through these powerful circles without anyone noticing or caring about his criminal actions? The answer, it seems, is that many of these people were willing to look the other way, either because they were benefiting from their association with him or because they feared the consequences of challenging such a powerful figure. Epstein's ability to manipulate, intimidate, and control his victims was matched only by his ability to manipulate those around him, using his influence to protect himself from justice. The full extent of Epstein's network is still being unraveled, and many more names are likely to emerge as investigations continue. What's clear, though, is that Epstein wasn't just a criminal mastermind. He was a man who understood how to wield power and connections to get away with the unimaginable for so long. As the truth continues to come to light, it's likely that more shocking figures will be revealed as having been part of his world. The question is, how deep does the web go? The names tied to the Jeffrey Epstein case are some of the most shocking and high-profile figures in the world, and as more information continues to surface, the full extent of their involvement remains unclear. From world leaders to famous celebrities, wealthy businessmen to powerful socialites, Epstein's connections ran deep, and the names associated with him are both astonishing and chilling. Each one adds another layer of intrigue, and in many ways, each person's name on the list forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about power, privilege, and complicity. One of the most infamous names that continues to come up in connection with Epstein is that of Prince Andrew, Duke of York, the second son of Queen Elizabeth II. Prince Andrew's association with Epstein has been the subject of global headlines ever since the story broke. The prince was accused by Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims, of being one of the men she was trafficked to, with her saying she was forced to have sex with him when she was just 17 years old. These allegations are supported by photographs that have surfaced showing Prince Andrew with Giuffre, and in one image, they are seen together in Epstein's London townhouse. Prince Andrew has strongly denied these allegations, calling the claims false and stating that he had no recollection of meeting Giuffre. However, his story has changed multiple times, leading many to question his version of events. The scandal has been so damaging that Prince Andrew has stepped back from his royal duties, and public appearances have been few and far between. His connection to Epstein has not only damaged his personal reputation, but has also caused embarrassment to the entire British royal family. The scandal remains unresolved, and many are still waiting for the truth to come out about the extent of Prince Andrew's involvement and whether or not he was actively complicit in Epstein's abuse. Another name that continues to make headlines in connection with Epstein is that of Bill Clinton, former president of the United States. Clinton's connection to Epstein was widely known before the scandal broke, with the former president being photographed with Epstein on numerous occasions, and also having flown on Epstein's private jet, often referred to as the Lolita Express, to various locations, including Epstein's private island in the Caribbean. Clinton has repeatedly denied any involvement in Epstein's criminal activities, stating that he had a professional relationship with Epstein and had flown on his plane for work related to the Clinton Foundation. However, the number of times Clinton flew with Epstein and the nature of their relationship raises suspicions. There are those who believe that Clinton may have known more about Epstein's criminal activities than he admits, though there is no definitive evidence linking Clinton directly to Epstein's abuse. Still, the fact that Clinton continued to associate with Epstein even after Epstein's conviction in 2008 raises questions. While Clinton has denied any wrongdoing, the public's perception of his connection to Epstein has been tarnished, and the former president has become a focal point in the growing list of powerful men who were linked to the convicted sex offender. Alan Dershowitz, a prominent attorney and law professor, also found himself embroiled in the Epstein scandal. Dershowitz, a well-known figure in legal circles, has been accused by Virginia Giuffre of having sex with her when she was underage, a claim he vehemently denies. Giuffre alleges that she was trafficked by Epstein and was forced to have sex with various powerful individuals, including Dershowitz. Dershowitz has filed multiple defamation lawsuits against Giuffre and others who have made these allegations, claiming that they are false. Despite his denials, the association between Dershowitz and Epstein is undeniable. Dershowitz was a frequent visitor to Epstein's properties, and some of his legal expertise may have even been used to help Epstein avoid legal consequences. In addition to these high-profile figures, Ghislaine Maxwell is perhaps the most notorious name linked to Epstein. Maxwell, a British socialite and close associate of Epstein, was arrested in 2020 on charges of aiding Epstein in his sex trafficking activities. Maxwell's involvement in Epstein's crimes is seen as particularly significant because she wasn't just a passive bystander. She was actively recruiting young women and sometimes girls to be abused by Epstein and his powerful associates. Many victims have publicly accused Maxwell of playing a key role in their exploitation, and it is widely believed that she acted as Epstein's enabler, helping him orchestrate his trafficking operation. Maxwell's arrest was a turning point in the case, as it shifted the focus onto her role in Epstein's criminal enterprise. She has pleaded not guilty to all charges and is currently awaiting trial, but her connection to some of the world's most powerful figures has only intensified the intrigue surrounding the Epstein scandal. If Maxwell is convicted, the trial could lead to even more revelations about the names involved in Epstein's world and the extent to which they were complicit in his actions. While figures like Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, and Alan Dershowitz have captured much of the media's attention, there are countless other names that have been linked to Epstein in various ways. One of the most prominent names in the financial world tied to Epstein is Leon Black, the billionaire co-founder of Apollo Global Management. Black had a long relationship with Epstein, and it was revealed that Epstein managed Black's personal finances, charging him tens of millions of dollars for his services. Black has denied any involvement in Epstein's illegal activities, claiming that their relationship was strictly professional. However, the large sums of money he paid Epstein and the nature of their business dealings have raised eyebrows. Another figure whose name has surfaced in connection with Epstein is Les Wexner, the billionaire founder of L Brands, which owns brands like Victoria's Secret. Wexner was one of Epstein's biggest clients, and it was through their relationship that Epstein gained much of his wealth and influence. In fact, Epstein had control over Wexner's finances for years, and many of Wexner's business dealings were handled by Epstein. Wexner has denied any knowledge of Epstein's criminal activities, but the connection between the two is undeniable, and many have wondered how Wexner could have been so closely associated with Epstein without knowing about his crimes. The list of names continues to grow, and each one adds another layer of complexity to the case. Celebrities like Tom Hanks and Alec Baldwin have been linked to Epstein through social circles, though neither has been accused of wrongdoing. Similarly, Donald Trump, former president and businessman, has been publicly associated with Epstein. Trump and Epstein were once friends, and they were photographed together on several occasions. Trump has since distanced himself from Epstein, calling him a terrible person after his arrest, and has denied any involvement in Epstein's activities. However, Trump was seen at Epstein's parties in the past, and some have questioned whether the two men were closer than they let on. There are also countless other names of people who were part of Epstein's social circle, from high-powered lawyers and bankers to Hollywood stars and politicians. Many of these individuals have not been accused of any wrongdoing, but their associations with Epstein have certainly raised eyebrows. Some have been questioned by investigators, while others have been more reluctant to comment on their relationships with Epstein. What's clear is that Epstein didn't operate in isolation. He was part of a vast network of people who either knowingly or unknowingly helped him maintain his grip on power and influence. As more information continues to emerge, more names will likely surface. The Epstein case is far from over, and the revelations that continue to come to light are both shocking and disturbing. What's clear is that Epstein's web of connections was vast and powerful, and that many of the people associated with him will likely face increased scrutiny as the full extent of his crimes is revealed. The world is waiting for the truth, and with each new name that surfaces, the need for justice becomes even more urgent. The consequences of the Epstein scandal have been devastating, not just for his victims, but for society as a whole. For the survivors, the trauma they endured will likely haunt them for the rest of their lives. Many of them were young girls when they were first lured into Epstein's world, promised opportunities and a better life, only to be exploited in unimaginable ways. The emotional scars left by such abuse are deep and long-lasting. Survivors have had to rebuild their lives, often in the face of disbelief, shame, and public scrutiny. Many have come forward to tell their stories, not only to seek justice for what happened to them, but also to help others who may have suffered in silence. Their bravery in speaking out is a testament to their resilience, but it also highlights the harsh reality of being a victim in a world where powerful people are often shielded from accountability. The psychological toll of the abuse cannot be overstated. Many of Epstein's victims have struggled with depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. The very fact that Epstein's crimes were allowed to continue for so long, with so many powerful figures turning a blind eye, only adds to the sense of betrayal these survivors feel. It's not just the abuse itself that hurts. It's the realization that no one stepped in to stop it, and when they did speak up, their voices were often ignored or dismissed. The legal battles, media attention, and long process of seeking justice can be re-traumatizing, making the road to healing even more difficult. On a societal level, the Epstein case has exposed the ugly truth about how wealth and power can protect individuals from facing the consequences of their actions. Epstein was able to operate with impunity for decades, and many of those connected to him, either directly or indirectly, seemingly escaped scrutiny thanks to their connections. The case has highlighted the deep flaws in our justice system, where money and influence can buy protection, while victims are often left to fend for themselves. The fact that so many powerful individuals were either complicit or actively enabled Epstein's behavior is a reflection of a larger issue in society, the systemic abuse of power by those at the top. This case has also sparked a broader conversation about sexual abuse, especially in the context of elite circles. It's forced society to confront uncomfortable truths about how easily abuse can be hidden behind wealth and status, and how often victims are silenced. The Such and Me Too movement, which gained significant traction in recent years, has provided a platform for survivors to share their stories and demand justice. The Epstein case is a painful reminder of why these conversations are so important. It shows just how much work still needs to be done to ensure that abuse survivors are believed, supported, and, most importantly, protected from the people who hold power over them. For many, the Epstein case is also a wake-up call about the way our society treats wealth and privilege. The fact that someone like Epstein, whose criminal actions were well known in certain circles, could continue to thrive for so long raises serious questions about the way we view the rich and powerful. It challenges us to rethink how much we allow people with money and influence to get away with. And it forces us to consider the extent to which society is willing to overlook abuses of power in the name of wealth, fame, and status. The aftermath of the Epstein scandal is still unfolding, and the effects are far-reaching. For the victims, it's a journey of seeking justice, healing, and reclaiming their voices. For society, it's an opportunity to reflect on the systems that allowed Epstein to get away with his crimes for so long, and a chance to demand change. The consequences of the Epstein case are profound, and the need for accountability is stronger than ever. Only time will tell how far-reaching these changes will be, but the hope is that this scandal will serve as a catalyst for lasting reform in how we handle sexual abuse and the abuse of power.